All right, y'all, we're live. Peace and power, family. This is welcome to Tea Talk with the Sisterhood. Sisters, we are your teacups. Tea Talk with the sisters. Sister Raziki, Sister Kaba. You don't, Kaba, where's your tea? Where's your tea? Where's your teacup, Sister Kaba?
Just imagine it. It has coffee in it. I have it right here. Right here.
I can dig it. I can dig it. But welcome to Tea Talk with the Sisterhood. We meet every Wednesday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Sometimes we go over. This is a group of sisters to hang out, to talk about pertinent issues that are going on in the community. I know that Sister Raziki wanted to add a hot topic segment to this. So before we get into the topic of today, we're definitely going to get into the hot topics for this week. And there was a lot of things that transpired in the last week that the sisters are going to touch on before we get into the topic of today. Before we begin, I would like to give praises and pay homage to the ancestors. I ask right now that our ancestors grant us the knowledge and wisdom of Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, that they give us the warrior spirit of Yasatiwa Queen and Zinga Tubman, and continue to give us the hunger for truth, justice, knowledge, balance, Mayat. I'm excited about today's topic. My name is Dr. Oya Mayat, and I am the co-founder and president of Ed Anime Productions. And today I have a panel of sisters with me. I have Sister Raziki L, Sister Wakisho, and Sister Kaba with me today to talk about the issue. Have Black women been masculinized? Okay, have we been masculinized? I know last week we talked about the emasculation and effeminization of Black. I think it was a powerful discussion. So if you didn't check it out on my page, just click the button and check out that video. It was definitely very, very powerful. But before we get into this topic, I want the sisters one by one to introduce themselves. And then Raziki, after that, I want you to bang off on the topics of this week.
Absolutely. Well, peace and love, fam. This is your sister, Raziki Zafira. And welcome to Tea Talk with the Sisters. I am a member of Nature's Crown and International and your sacred sexpert. So welcome.
Peace and love, family. This is Sister Kaba Neptiank. I'm happy to be here amongst these wonderful, illustrious sisters today. This topic is important to everyone. And I'm sure that, you know, there'll be mixed views about it. That's fine. That's fine. We welcome that. So peace and love to everyone.
Peace. My name is Wakisho L. I'm the second half of Nature's Crown International. Greetings to all the sisters on the panel. I am excited about this conversation.
Definitely. But before we get into the topic, have Black women been masculinized? I want Sister Raziki, you sister, now you brainstorm a lot of topics, and there was a lot of things that transpired this week. I want you to go into that, and we'll build on that for about 15-20 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and get into today's topic. So go ahead and go ahead, sis.
Yeah, so two of the hot topics that I saw circulating this week. One, of course, we all know about the whole Dr. Umar and Sarah Sutanseti quote unquote beef. Now I am aware that Dr. Umar set out, this video saying that he apologizes for this, that, and the third. So, the question that I would like to pose to you ladies in the audience is that, when we see our quote unquote leaders or scholars that have a heavy influence, they kind of, exhibit that kind of behavior. Should we just be totally quick to cut them off and disregard everything they stood for, everything that they're about? Or, do we also take the time to realize okay, they're human, and maybe, we need to send some elders in the mix to, mediate the situation. That's the first hot topic. The second one was, there was a lot of opinions going around about how, I believe it was Serena Williams, she recently got engaged to a European man. And a really interesting question was okay, so when African sister or a woman, she's went through her dating of, her strong Black men, but none of them are stepping up to the plate. None of them are, willing to make that commitment. do we have the right to be upset with her when she finds someone from another culture? So those were the two topics that I kind of wanted to touch on today. Being that I just see the differing opinions. Some people are all about, no matter what, we stick by each other and we should only procreate and date within our race. But again, if that well has run dry, so to speak, what's why I should say, do we hold issue with a Black woman marrying someone outside of a race? So those were the two hot topics that I wanted to kind of touch on today.
Sister Kaba, what were your thoughts on the Umar Seti situation and the Serena Williams situation?
The Seti Umar situation. I think they made Jet magazine, and they're pushing that. Yeah, they're pushing that. I mean, it's worldwide, now. I mean, if it's in Jet, then a lot of people kind of deal with Jet and Ebony. So what are we giving to the people? You know what I'm saying? That whole beef is what people are now being able to assess and analyze. So I don't have any thoughts on it. I think it's counterproductive, and that's a bottom line with that. And as far as Serena, I mean, yeah, she has the right to marry whoever she wants or whomever she deems fit for her and her lifestyle. And as we know, she, being a person that makes the type of money that she makes based off what it is she has done and her family has done to get her there, she feels this is where she belongs. And, I disagree. I think that African women belong with African men. Black women belong with Black men. You know what I'm saying? I think that we need to keep the family unit together. And that's all I have to say about that. It's I don't want to really go too much into it. People can do what it is they want, and we all will have a opinion on it. So that's all I have to say.
Sister Waukesha. Sis, what are your thoughts, sis?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I don't really have any. Y'all can go past me. I'm over it. I agree with Sister Kaba. It's counterproductive. Yeah. So.
What about the Serena Williams take? How do you feel about that? Like, what are your views on interracial relationships?
Personally, I feel like we should procreate with a brother. However, everyone is entitled to do whatever they want to do. And if she could not find love with a brother of color and she found love with the guy that she's with, then that's her choice. Not all of us are going to be on the same page. And here's the thing. She may have chose to be with this white man, but she might still be for whatever cause that'll bring or uplift people of color. So that doesn't change. That may or may not change her views of how she feel about people. I don't know. We don't know her. So I can't really speak on that. But me personally, I certainly will procreate with a brother.
No doubt. And I think that's where I am. I concur with the entire panel. Regarding the Seti and Umar situation, I do believe that is counterproductive behavior to Black progression. But I also think a lot of people were perturbed by Umar's video. But in my mind, I'm thinking he's a human being. And, and sometimes people get upset and they say things. Does that make him less of a man, less of a person eligible to lead? Not in my opinion. I think that sometimes people get upset. Sometimes you get emotional, and sometimes you do want to fight fire with fire. You get what I'm saying? Do I think that was the best method for him to respond to Seti? No, absolutely not. I look at how Umar presents himself. And when I saw that in my mind, I was like, that's not Umar. You get what I'm saying? But he's also a human being, and you get fed up with certain things. So you may lash back, you may cuss, you may fight. I know that some people say, oh, well, Dr. Mayat, you shouldn't curse at people. You shouldn't curse people out. You are a doctor. And I'm like, dude, I am a human being. I get upset too. I get angry too. And I may lash back, you know, and use harsh words or a harsh tone, you know, but a lot of people, I think when they see you on YouTube or see you at lectures, they put you in a certain category, or they see you in a different light. Or short of that is, oh, I'm not dealing with this person anymore. I think that we need to understand that Dr. Umar Johnson is human. He got fed up, you know, with the verbal attacks. He's been verbally attacked for some time now. And there are people that say things about, you know, his credentials. They question him about where his money is going. I think he raised about $300,000. So you got a lot of people down his throat saying, well, where's the $300,000? And you have YouTube videos going up accusing him of stealing the money. So he's been verbally attacked for some time now. How much can an individual take before he or she explodes? You get what I'm saying? So Dr. Umar Johnson is human. I look at him no different. I look at him no differently. I see him no different than I saw him before. He's a human being.
Right.
You know, and he had an episode. He was upset. He vented on YouTube. Do I think he should have done that? No, I think he probably should have called up, you know, an elder or a homeboy or homegirl and vented to them about it. I don't think that he should have done that, because like Sister Kaba said, now it's in Jet Magazine. And once it's there, it's always going to be there. You get what I'm saying? And so do I think that was the best route? Not at all. Do I think that brother probably should have picked up the phone and voiced his feelings and concerns to SETI? Absolutely. I believe that's what men do. You got a problem with me, pick up the phone and call me, you know, right. But you know, again, I don't see him in a different light. I still have, you know, a lot of respect for Brother Umar Johnson. I will hope that he builds the school soon. I know that he's talking about building it in either, he said, Atlanta or Detroit. So he's been talking about that and making some moves with that. And I'm hoping that things pan out for the brother. I sincerely hope, you know, that it does. In regards to Sister Serena Williams, her marrying, I think it's Serena Williams, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Sister Serena Williams marrying a European. I myself believe that we should procreate within our own group. Just knowing what I know, the little bit that I do know about genetics, I know that when we mix with other cultures, that now we become, or our progeny or our offspring becomes susceptible to certain diseases that they probably would not have been had they have procreated within our group. So me personally, I believe in the maintenance of the Black family, and I believe that African people should procreate African people. However, I also feel like, who am I to tell this woman where to find love? So that's where I'm kind of torn. You know, like, she has dated a few brothers, and those brothers didn't ask for her hand in marriage. She dated this individual, and he did. So who am I now to criticize that sister for finding love where she found it? But me personally, I'm not for it. I wouldn't go out and date European descent, and I wouldn't promote it either. I don't agree with it, nor would I ever promote it and say that's the thing to do. However, I do, you know, I can't fault other people for where they find love. But I also want to say that we've seen like a spike in interracial couples and marriages in the media. And on Facebook yesterday, I put up a post simply telling people, don't believe the hype. When I looked at the Census Bureau of Justice, not Census Bureau of Justice, the Census Bureau report on the number of marriages that took place in 2015, it said that 84% of Black men married a Black woman in 2015. It also said that in 2015, 94% of Black women married Black men. So the majority of us do marry within our group. So I know you're watching Love and Slip Slop, and you see the white boy on there. I think it's Love and Slip Slop. You see the white boy on there with the white sister. You see in music videos with the white boy and the Black sister. And then you had this movie that just came out, I believe, a few months ago on this interracial couple that fought the government. It was the world against them. And so I know that you're seeing this constant projection of interracial couples, even in TV shows like How to Get Away with, I think, is it How to Get Away with Murder? How to Get Away with Murder and Scandal. So we constantly being bombarded with this image of interracial couples. But I want brothers and sisters to know that Black people, the majority of us still marry and prefer to marry within our group.
I want Dr. Maad, can I add to that right quick? I just wanted to do a quick synopsis for you right quick. Just imagine the impact. Say for instance, SETI, the whole SETI and Omar situation. Say for instance, that would have made Jet Magazine and it would have displayed them actually building a school. The impact that it would have had on the people, or even Serena marrying say a black man. Had she married a black man, think about how many of our children watch her play tennis and the impact of seeing her marry a black man embedded in their mind and their psyches. They want a black man. You know what I'm saying? So what has happened with these two instances that have been put on the grand scale is it gives our children the mindset that we can't keep it together. We're constantly bickering. And then also we go outside from time to time, you know what I'm saying, and marry people of the opposite race, you know what I'm saying, because this is acceptable. So had this been reversed and the society was seeing it, it would have had a big impact on the way our children perceive themselves. So I just want to add that, sis.
And that was very well put, Sister Kaba and Dr. Maya. And again, like the purpose of these hot topics, because again, and I like to address the audience too, like, well, why are we talking about this and that? I mean, they gave perfect reasons as to why we're talking about it. So like when we bring up things like the Umar and Seti or the Serena, think about it in a bigger way. It's not solely about Umar and Seti. This is about what do we do when our leaders, they lose it? What do? Do we just simply throw them away, or do we say, hey, bruh, we understand, maybe next time it could have been this, that, and the third, and keep it moving? A lot of times, there are leaders that we have and they're capable to lead, but if they make one mistake, we'll throw the baby out with the bathwater, which is one of the reasons why I feel like as a community we never get anywhere. We don't know how to separate the meat from the potatoes. You know what I mean? Like, even though you may not fully like the messenger, did you get the message? Moving on to the Serena situation. Again, it's not about Serena. It's about, are we wasting our time or emotion or energy, feeling some sort of way about a woman who decides this, that, and the third? Also, again, what kind of conversations need to be had, or what healing has to go on in our community to where Black women don't get fed up with our Black men and then choose to, date outside the race. So again, when we talk about these topics, don't think about solely this person, but the broader picture, and that's all I had to say about that. But thank you, ladies, for your opinions. That was really good.
No doubt, no doubt. So on to the topic of today: have Black women been masculinized? So before we even get into that, Sister Wakisho, can you please read the definition of being masculinized?
Okay, masculinize. It's a verb. Induce male psychological characteristic. Make someone or something masculine in nature or appearance. They use the sentence, what feminism did was not to masculinize women, but to ultra feminize them. That's one of the sentences they had with it. But I think it's to make someone or something masculine in nature or appearance, or have a psychological characteristic of a male.
Okay. So to have a characteristic of a male. So I want to begin by reading something that I put up on one of my Facebook pages. I said, and it has everything to do with this topic, because we talk about what's masculine and what's feminine. Like, for example, last week we had a talk on men being effeminate or effeminized. And now today we're talking about women being masculinized. But what is femininity and what is masculinity, and who taught it? You get what I'm saying? Like, what is it? What are these energies or characteristics? Like, what does masculine or feminine look like? Because you have a lot of people, and I was giving this example when we were before we started live streaming. I gave the example of female who may prefer to wear T-shirts instead of clothes. Someone in our culture, we would look at her and say, she looks masculine. You get what I'm saying? And she may be a feminine woman or a dainty woman. She's just not a girly girl in appearance. Or you might see a guy that has, I don't know, what we perceive to have feminine ways. He may, I don't know, for example, I used to think that men who suck their teeth were feminine because I thought girls did it. So when I had male friends, you know, suck their teeth, I would consider that a feminine characteristic. But again, what is feminine and what is masculine? So I put up this post and I just want to read it to the audience. I said, so often we hear things like, he is not being a man or she is not acting like a woman. What does it mean to be a woman or a man? And who decides this? The roles of a man and a woman are socially defined and can vary from culture to culture. Society has preset ideas about how you should think and behave based on your biological sex. Are the current expectations of men and women conducive to the prosperity, protection, and survival of the African family, community, and nation? Oh, our current expectations of each other were imposed upon us and is destroying the African family, community, and nation. And let me give you one example of that. I had a buddy who she took on the role of provider in her household. She was with a guy, they had 2 babies together, and he fell on hard times. He was unable to provide financially because you can provide in other ways. So we got to get off of that kick. Just because the man is home, he may not be able to provide financially. Now you don't deem him as a provider, but he may provide in other ways. But anyway, he could not provide for her financially. And so I remember her telling me that she told him, "You're not a man. I'm the man of my house." Okay. And she said that simply because she contributed the finances, you know, to the house. So she felt like because I'm financially providing for this household, then that makes me the man. And I remember telling the sister, "No, sister, you're not a man. You're just providing financially to that household, but that doesn't make you a man, and that doesn't make him less than a man because he cannot financially contribute to that household." But we live in a paradigm, in this European paradigm, where we're socialized and taught to believe that if the man doesn't contribute financially to the household, then he's not being a man. Or like, I know that one of my aunties used to make fun of one of her girlfriend's husbands because he was a stay-at-home father. So she used to be like, "Oh, he's a stay-at-home dad." Well, just because a brother may be more domestic or maybe tends to more of the domestic responsibilities of the household doesn't mean he's less than a man or the woman is more of a man. Like, we have to cut that out, and we have to assume roles in our households that are conducive to the prosperity and survival of our households. You know, I think we so caught up in this role thing that now we're destroying our families, we're destroying relationships anytime that person steps outside of what you perceive as the role for them based on their biological sex. I concluded my Facebook post by saying that men and women roles should be redefined based on, and I'm talking about men and women roles in the African community. I said men and women roles should be on the principles, values, and traditions of our indigenous African cultures. I said we want to find man-women roles. We want to find man-women roles based on the needs of our culture. So when we were hunter-gatherers, we brought up our sons to know that, man, in order to be a man, you have to go and hunt. For a woman, you have to bear this child. You get what I'm saying? So when people define roles of men and women, back then they defined it based on the needs of the culture. I just want to remind you that our great ancestor, Dr. Amos Wilson, told us that when manhood and womanhood are defined in isolation, detached from the needs of one's culture, and when boys and girls are not trained into manhood and womanhood relative to the culture, then they will prey upon the culture and destroy the culture. So today, you are witnessing the result of African men and women and children, African people and culture. So what I'm saying here, brothers and sisters, is that we now need to redefine, right? We need to redefine what it means to be a woman and a man in terms of our African culture, okay? Our African culture, tradition, and principles, because we lost that. And because we lost that, you have a lot of brothers and sisters who have a misinterpretation, or they misconstrue what masculinity is or what femininity is. You got a lot of sisters who think wearing weave down their backs is feminine. You know, you got brothers who think that they have to sag their pants and walk a certain way and talk a certain way, and that is what is masculinity, or that is perceived as masculine. So we really need to redefine the roles of man and woman. What is a man? What is a woman? And what are our roles? And what are these characters? Like, what does this look like? What does a man or woman look like? You know, in terms, and we need to define ourselves in terms of our own culture, traditions, and principles. So sisters, could somebody go ahead and elaborate on that? I just wanted to kind of on it.
Well, Keisha, okay. I didn't want to be the one, you know. But no, I totally agree with what you said. And going back to our last week's conversation, and kind of like how I did last week, I do have a presentation later on, but you know, as far as masculine and femininity, what does that, like, how do you define that? I think one of the things is just knowing a lot of the duties that needed to be done in society and in the family period, is how a lot of those stereotypes came to pass. I also feel like, you know, just genetically, like men are more prone towards certain things. Majority of the cases, I know there's, you know, exceptions to the rule, as well as women. And I feel like just over time, we have allowed those consistencies to become the norm, not realizing that, again, there's always, you know, exceptions to every rule. And so just like how, you know, last week we were talking about, you know, the houses of the man. And like you said, sis, well, you know, what if this is the stay-at-home dad? You know, it doesn't mean he's weak. It doesn't mean he won't protect. Maybe that's just the dynamic of the relationship. Maybe the woman just really doesn't like to be the one who's at home, you know, being the homemaker all the time. I mean, whatever the case. And so are we to say, well, something's wrong with that picture, that's off balance, or is it okay because that's what that couple prefers? And so when it comes again to masculine and feminine energy, I mean, like, as far as what can we say it is, I mean, hey, that's a good question. I like to hear from everybody else on the panel, because I mean, look, in this walk, look, I don't know, I'm confused. I'm dating my damn self.
I just want to add real fast that if you look in the Lion Kingdom, it's the male lion stays home and protects the household, and it's the lioness that goes out and gets the food. And now in society, when brothers are in the house, we're looking at them with the side eye. You get what I'm saying? But if you look at, you know, it's crazy to me. It's really crazy. I think that we should be working, you know, I think that he and I as a couple should be working or should fulfill roles that are the best roles for our household. Maybe the brother has a felony. I don't know. You get what I'm saying? We don't know. You know, we're so quick to judge the dynamics of somebody else's household and don't know we don't know the intimate, you know, we don't know what the dynamics are. Right. So anyway, go ahead.
I think we know what the dynamic is, Dr. Ma. The dynamic is white supremacy. What it has done, it has put our men in a position where that they can't get these jobs. I mean, we understand already that they place our men in positions where they, in this society, they can't get a job because of, as you stated, felonies. I'll give you a perfect example in my own personal marriage. You understand what I'm saying? There were times when my husband did not have employment. Okay. So I went out, just as the lioness does that you mentioned, and got employment. My husband would be home. He's still looking for employment. We had our daughter and our son, you know. We were looking for, he was looking for work, you know what I'm saying, in different places. But because of this white supremacist dynamic, whereas that our men have to be secluded to work in specific jobs, construction, here, there, just, they don't want them in jobs, making jobs on themselves. They don't want them to be entrepreneurs. They want them to be in positions where they have to go to them for help, for work. You know what I'm saying? So he may be laid off or something to that effect. So the woman would come in and she would actually work while he's there. It's not as if he's there constantly. It's just that at a specific time in his life, we have these downfalls and the women have to step in. That doesn't make her masculine because she goes out and she provides for the family while the husband doesn't have a job. But in this society, people see that as being a soft man. Oh, he's at home, he's washing dishes. Not to mention that when we coming up and we're raising up our children and we're rearing them, we have them doing specific things in the household. You know what I'm saying? We have them every now and again washing dishes. I must say though, as I grew up in the 70s, I didn't see my father come home from work washing dishes. My mom took on that role. My dad went out and he worked. You know what I'm saying? And then my mom had the food cooked and she had his bath water ran. And I saw African traditional culture in my family, and they were Christians. You know what I'm saying? Practicing this because this is where it was. We're away from that right now. They are completely getting us to change our roles. They want the woman to act as if she's a man, and they want the man to take on the role of a woman, in which that dynamic right there is completely something that white supremacy has put out there and targeted us to have to deal with. You know what I'm saying? So the brother not having a job or the brother not being able to acquire employment has a lot to do with this dynamic that we're under. You know what I'm saying? So I can't even say he's emasculated or he's soft just because he's in the house, because there's many different variables as to why he can't get employment when he doesn't have employment. I just wanted to add that, sis.
Definitely. Sister Waukesha.
Yes. Well, I just wanted to add, I want to ask the panel, do we think, okay, what would be the meaning of a man? And I think Sister Riziki was saying that, we don't know. And I was about to share this the last time we spoke, and I got cut off, about the documentary that I watched about the transgender. And it was very interesting, and I thought it was amazing the way he broke it down. It was a transgender guy, an Indian guy, right? Well, no, he wasn't even transgender. He was just him, and he went by the pronoun they. And it was just interesting how he broke that down, because it resonated with me, because it wasn't like he was picking a gender, picking a he or she or a certain social engineering construct that society has created. And he was like, I go by they. That, like, some days I feel like tapping into my feminine energy, and some days I feel like tapping into my masculine energy, but it doesn't make me less than a human being. And so I think that's a great question. What defines a woman and a man outside of what has been constructed by society, right? We see social engineering every day when it comes to little girls and little boys. And I saw a video where there was a European little girl, and she was talking about social engineering with male and females, and she was in the store, and it was the boy clothes and the girl clothes, and she pointed at the boy clothes and she said, well, why do they get to have wow, do a great job, keep up the good work, and then on my clothes it's just say yes or we or something like that? And she was like, what's up with that? And why do he have to wear blue and I have to wear pink? Or why do I have to play with Barbies and he play with the Tonka truck? You know what I'm saying? And so from the time we are born, we are literally told what to do per our gender, like you said, that are correct. Can we define that as being a natural way of life, or is that a conditioning or a social engineering construct? And I'll share this also. Deepak, he's an Indian guru. He said, your thoughts are conditioned thoughts. You do not own your thoughts. They are conditioned thoughts. So now we have to retrain ourselves, or try to realize, are these thoughts, is this way of life, or the meaning of man and woman, are those your definitions? Is that what you define it, or is that what society has defined it as? So when we make these constructs for male and female, do we really know what we're talking about, or are we subscribing to society's definition?
Yeah, I want to just add, Sister Waukesha, that Dr. Amos Wilson once said that in a few of his lectures, that feelings are taught. He said, I know that you believe that feelings are organic and that they're natural. He said, but you're taught how to feel. He said, and he gave this example. He said, when someone does something to you, you might hear your mom, your dad, or one of your friends say, you should be mad, or man, I would have, he said that is teaching somebody how to feel. He said, a lot of you think that even love, he said, you think that that's organic and natural. He said, you even were taught what love looks like. If I had butterflies in my stomach, when this guy comes around or this girl comes around, or I think about them all the time, oh, I must be in love. So he said, you're taught what society teaches you what these concepts are. He said, your feelings, when you should get mad, when should you be satisfied, when should you be sad, happy, crying. He said, you're taught when to have these emotions. And he said, a lot of us think that our emotions are organic. He said, but they're not. And once I saw those lectures, and I watch a lot of his lectures, that's when I realized, I didn't realize how conditioned I was until Dr. Amos Wilson made his statement. When should you be happy? Like, for example, when we go to funerals, you see a lot of people crying at the funeral. Well, if we grew up and we went to funerals and we saw people rejoicing, we would think that that was a celebration. You get what I'm saying? But we're taught that funerals are sad because when you are a child or a teenager or a young adult, you are attending these ceremonies, you crying. So you look at it as a sad time. So we're taught how to feel. We're really taught how to feel, and feelings aren't organic. They aren't, I think to some extent that feelings aren't organic, that we are conditioned to feel and think a certain way. Again, Sister Waukesha, I think that men and women, I think that we should have a role. Like, for example, women, we have sexual attributes that allow us to give birth, that will allow us to extend the nation, perpetuate the nation. You get what I'm saying? So when I think the ultimate rite of passage of a woman, man, is when you give birth. I think that's the ultimate rites of passage. You get what I'm saying? So if you ask me to define womanhood for a woman, I would say, when you come into your womanhood, giving birth, being a wife, being a head of your household, things along the line, like things along that line. With a man coming into your manhood, protector. I mean, men have muscles for a reason. So I do think that we should, and I might still be conditioned, sisters, but I still think that because of our biological sex, that there are certain roles that we should play. That's just where I am. If a robber came into my household with a dude, now he's the one with all the damn muscles, right? Do you really expect, I don't expect him to look at me and say, well, I'm not going out. I think, you are the stronger, or, when I say stronger, I'm talking about physically, in terms of muscles. You should get out of the bed and see what the hell is going on in the living room. You get what I'm saying? So to a certain degree, I do believe that we should play a role, and that role is based on our biological sex as well as the needs of our culture. That's where I am. That's my take on it.
Well, I mean, I agree with you, and I agree with you as far as the need as for the culture, excuse me. But and I'm just playing devil's advocate. I still think that it could be a conditioning. Just like the example you stated with the lioness and the lion. Well, their structure are quite different, but she goes out and she gets the food, and she will fight off anyone that enter her domain, as well as the lion. And that's the same thing with women. We defend our homes as well. If something was to pop off and he could not do it, we are certainly capable of defending our homes and protecting our homes. So I don't know if I would necessarily say, well, that is just his natural order of life based upon his biological makeup. I'm just saying that it could be an open dynamic to it. And I think that society has created that construct that it is, this or that, he or she, right? And you are boxed in, right? You're controlled. That's just my take.
I think that right, there are some biological dynamics, and I want to take it a step further when we're talking about the like masculinization of our women and what it can lead to. For instance, and I'm speaking personally because I was there when it happened, because I was involved. So in my relationship, I was not new to a man telling me, like, first off, I'm in a relationship with a woman. I'm not trying to date a man. And it came out like that because of how I talk to him. Like, if we get in an argument, I'm bucking up like I can really physically beat him up. Masculinized in the sense that, I'm a female and I'm just ready to, swing off and hit on a dude because I equate myself to that, masculine energy. I think that this goes deeper than just defining roles. I think that it also goes into the actual attitude and certain mannerisms and how you handle certain situations as a woman. So here's the deal, right? Like, men normally, right? And this is why throughout, since the beginning of time, human beings has always been test subjects, okay? Like, there are, things that happen neurologically, physiologically, to whereas, if a man and a woman is doing physical labor, energetically, that's going to promote more of a quote unquote masculine type of energy. At least that's what we call it, right? Physical labor in society, in the norm, equates to masculine energy. Certain things, like maybe if we say like beauty, arts, knitting, I don't know, feminine stuff, if you will. If a man do it, it's equating to feminine energy. So when we deal with masculinization, it's in a sense damaging the dynamic in the relationship, because women and men are driven by two different things. For instance, for a man, now I don't know if there's men in the chat. Y'all let me know, because I'm not a man. There's ego and pride, right? Like, men, that's what they have. There's certain things that they have to acquire. There's certain things they have to accomplish. There's a certain way that, they need to be appreciated and recognized in order to, in order for their pride and their ego to be in check. For women, feeling nurtured, feeling protected, feeling secure, that actually contributes biologically or neurologically to our femininity. And so when we're talking about getting these roles reversed, or there's exceptions to the rule where it's okay for a man to stay in the house, where it may promote more of a feminine energy, to whereas if women got to go out and work and face all the aggression that the world brings her, that promotes more of a masculine energy, so it said. So again, I think it just comes back to the individual relationship, their dynamic, but also realizing that, again, just because a person has the genitalia of a man doesn't necessarily make him a man. Just because a woman has the genitalia of a woman doesn't necessarily make her a woman. And so this is going, and I know, Sister Kaba couldn't go in on this, but this is how, like, the whole homosexuality stuff can lead to, as well, because like you said, Dr. Maya, there are many women, quote unquote, tomboys, who will be accused of being, lesbian, just because of that masculine characteristic that they show, but they may not be lesbian. You know what I mean? So I think it really just comes down to a person's perception. What do they feel is masculine and what do they feel is feminine?
I think that we had to teach it though, Sister Raziki. Like, I'm telling you, man, I really see the need to reinstitute the rites of passage, because a lot of people don't know. Like you say, we're just relying on our perception, right? Yeah. But we got to realize that our perception is based on our socialization, our education, and our environmental interactions. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? So it's just like, who socialized you, who educated you, and what environment are you interacting in? And that is what forms your level of perception. So I think that we definitely need to have a standard in place to say, when we're training our boys and our girls into manhood and womanhood, that there needs to be a standard in place to say, or this is masculine, or this is what men do, and this is what women do. Like we don't know. So a lot of people are just trying to figure it out. You got brothers who think manhood or being a man is going out shooting another brother. You get what I'm saying? You got some brothers who believe that sagging their pants, bopping down the street is masculinity. And then you got some women who look at that and say, oh, he must be a man because he's doing X, Y, and Z. So we need to teach our boys how to be a man and what a woman looks like. And on the flip side, teach our girls how to be women and to be able to identify a man. I think we lost sight of that. And that's why we're in the situation that we're in today. Bob, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Because when you look at it, what's happening, society is definitely putting that in play. They putting the agenda right in front of the children's faces in the school system. Case in point, they are incorporating an intersex restroom. So what is that telling our men? Oh, it's okay to just go in on and, I can go in any restroom. I can go in the one that says it's for the transgender, and I can go and I can switch up at any time and go over to the one that's for girls, because society now says that it is okay and that the two of us are one and the same, and that we don't have anything different. We're one and the same. We are, 1 second. Sorry, the phone was ringing. I apologize, family. That's why I was gone. But they're telling our children that it's okay. They're pushing this agenda. We were speaking about this last week, putting it on cereal boxes. They've taken the rainbow and they've changed it into, this homosexual agenda. They're putting it on toys. They're putting it on clothing now. They're doing a lot of different things to push the agenda to let our children know in this society that it is okay. We need to accept homosexuality for what it is, because it is the new world. It is the new life. It is the new way. You know what I'm saying? So Dr. Mata is completely correct in that we need to teach the differences now, because the school system definitely has now implemented a program now within the school system that says that if a person feels to believe that they're gay, and how do they feel? How are they feeling this way? By perception, the perception that has been put forward for them to idolize with. So we are in a tough situation, because we have to now begin to say, should I allow my child to go to a public school system and there's a restroom here for, should I allow my child to go to this school and the guys could come with a dress on? Should I allow my children to go to school where they're teaching that, oh, it's okay? Should I allow my child to go to the school? There's teachers now in the school system who are a part of the LBGT community, and they're actually teaching. I think it was a video, the brother General Abazu Ahmed gave us a video and showed us where there's homosexuals. The
drag queen. I think it was the drag queen, sister.
This weekly, there's weekly, but just them, no one else is coming in and doing this. It's just them. So what is that saying to our children? Okay, he can come in and he can teach our children, and he can flaunt around in this dress and dressed in drag, and so the children become accepting of this. And to me, this is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. I don't want to go too far into this, because I know this is, you got a different way that you're going with this. We were looking at how women become masculine and things, but we have homosexual transgenders going into the school systems, reading to our children weekly. They're not separate. They're not bringing in a midget at one point, or this week here, I'll bring in some twins, or this week I'll bring it. Every single week, they are allowing a transgender to come in and read to the children. And what is that doing to these little bitty children? I just want, we got to be able to see this for what it is right now. African traditional culture, we have to oblige, because if not, then we are going to go around thinking that women and men play the same role. They both can do the same thing. And we know men cannot have children. They can't give birth. You understand what I'm saying? But yet and still we're telling them now that, oh yeah, it's okay. It's okay. You can give birth. Y'all the same. Y'all can do the same thing. This is not correct. You understand? It is destroying life. It is the extermination of life. You see what I'm saying? Because two men can't create children and two women cannot. They'll have to go outside of their little comfort zone to go to the other side to impregnate a woman. And then she goes back and she has that child with another woman. Yeah, she has this child and they raise this child in this situation. And this child grows up thinking, there shouldn't be a man around. Or this other child grows up thinking, oh, we don't need a woman around. Or how'd they come here?
That contributes to the masculinization, like those dynamics. You think that contributes to the masculinization of women overall? And I want to know, like, from you all, like, what do you think that looks like? What do you think like a masculinized female looks like? I think that's like I would like to do from you all.
Well, it's not even about what she looked like. It's about what she's acting upon.
Right.
Things she's doing.
Yeah. Sorry, that's what I meant by what does that look like? Like, what are the actions? What is the thought patterns that you feel is from a masculine?
I'll give you one right now, right quick. All right. I went out to a little club and there's these females coming there. And I go back to what Dr. Mott was saying, women we wear pants, we wear jeans. I mean, I like jeans, me. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to put them on and I want them to be as tight as they can be. How about that? You understand what I'm saying? So I'm going to put the jeans on, you know what I'm saying, and give it my little twist, but what I've noticed is females go into the club and I'll see them. They might have their hat on, you know what I'm saying? It's okay because I wear a hat every now and again. They might have, their hair a certain way. What I see now with a lot of the women that are, I guess, lesbian, they have their natural hair. We don't see them wearing weave. You understand what I'm saying? That's a fact, unless they're drag, you know what I'm saying? And they're men, if they're drag. We'll see them in the club. They got their jeans on, they got their boots on, their tennis on. And like, again, I wear all of that. But what we see in them is an attraction for a woman. I see them standing there, hugging their woman, dancing with them, behind them. And I mean, it's their actions that tell us what it is they desire. You know what I'm saying? Because we can look any kind of way right now, and then it's portrayed as, oh, well, yeah, she look a little butch. She look a little gay. I mean, is she? Well, then she has to go and act upon that, what you see. So she's impressed upon you the thought that she may be masculine, but then when she goes and act upon it, then you actually know. So that's all. I think it's the actions that they carry out with other women, and those women carry out with them together. As a whole, we can see it for what it is.
So, Sister Kaba, you're saying that masculinity is a mentality and an action. It's not really an appearance, because that's where I'm at with it.
Yep, that's where I'm at. It's not an appearance all the way. You know what I'm saying? Because we were talking about that. We were talking about how people look, how people dress. I just told you, I got Timberlands. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I got Bally's. Right. I got tennis. I got jeans. I can put all that on. It's the action that follows that. So, yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
So that's another thing. Again, it goes back to standards. How I agree with Sister Waukesha in that we are socially engineered to be a certain way based on our biological sex. Because again, how should a man act? A woman act? Society has these preset ideas for this. And then it's kind of like, if you go outside of that box, you're not normal. You get what I'm saying? Or like you're a tomboy. Like I remember growing up, and I shared this story with you guys before I went live. I grew up in a neighborhood. It was majority males. I was the only girl for years. And I remember going outside with them. I broke my daggone ankle, fooling around with those boys. I fell out of trees. I fought. I played football with those boys until I grew breasts and went through puberty and realized I'll get the wind knocked out of me. But I was that girl, you know what I mean? Like I was that girl on the bike with them and just rolling with them. They would knock on the door, and my name is Deanna, by the way, so they called me D. Hey, D, going up to the basketball. you know, and I'm like, okay, come on, let's go, you know. So I would go to the basketball court with him. And again, I did these things until like puberty. And then, you know, when I started going through puberty and having, you know, guy friends and stuff like that, that's when I kind of detached from those brothers. But I say all that to say that people would say she's tomboyish. You know, it's like you were putting a label on me. Like, you know, she's tomboyish because boys typically did the things that I described. But I was never that girl. I didn't like to play with Barbie dolls. Playing with Barbie dolls didn't do anything for me. I like to watch Thundercats, and I remember watching the Snorkels and Alvin and the Chipmunks, and those were the cartoons that I liked to watch. Transformers. I remember having Nintendo bringing my male friends over, and we were playing a game called Contra. I don't know if we have any 80 babies in the building. Contra on a Nintendo game, you know. I used to like playing the fighting games. Did that make me masculine? Did that make me boyish? Or, you know, I just liked what I liked. And I think that sometimes, to be honest with you, sisters, I think sometimes Black women get a bad rap. Like, I think sometimes people look at us as being masculine. Like I think they take or perceive our strength for masculinity. You know, like they say, oh, she's being masculine simply because I'm being strong or stern, or I might be aggressive, or I might be self-determined. You equate those attributes with a male, when in actuality, women can be strong, women can be assertive, women can be aggressive, you know, women can be strong-minded, women can be logical, contrary to what brothers have been taught to believe. Oh, women, you know, they go off their emotions, they base their decisions based on emotions. No, you have some women who are very logical. I got a lot of sisters who are engineers. And in engineering, you have to understand mathematical and scientific concepts. And if you understand math, what is math? Math is logic. Mm-hmm. You know, so I know a lot of sisters who are extremely logical, but again, society has these preset ideas for what men and women should be. And when you step outside of that, you're feminine or you're masculine. Mm-hmm. So again, I think that there needs to be some standard in place that teaches us what is it. And even that standard would be conditioning. That's conditioning.
Yeah.
But that's conditioning. But standard is conditioning. But I just feel like we definitely need to define what a man is, because earlier, Sister Raziki, you made a good point. Just because you have a penis, it doesn't make you a man. It makes you a male, right? Because you have the phallus and you have the sexual attributes of a male. So that makes you a male organism. But to me, when I look at a man, I'm looking at a fully developed, and I'm talking about mentally, emotionally, and physically. You know, that to me is a man, you know. But a lot of brothers think because I have a penis or because I'm out here sleeping with 5 women, that makes me, you know, a man. And you have a lot of women who go out here who think that, you know, because they have babies or because they look a certain way or because they sleep around, that makes them a woman. You get what I'm saying? So I definitely think that manhood and womanhood needs to be redefined in terms of our African. We got away from that. And that's why people can project these images on us now and say, this is what you should identify with if you feel this way, because there's no standard.
Mm-hmm. Right. No, I agree with that. I mean, like, again, from the beginning of time, that, and you know what, that's just a part of culture, period. All civilizations had some sort of culture which included the roles of man and woman and child, so forth and so on. And so there were some interesting comments in the feed too about, number one, how, you know, another way women become masculinized or feel like they're the man is if they're making more money than their mate. Another point that somebody else brought up, oh yes, is that a masculinized woman has a problem with allowing a man to lead. And so my question or, you know, thought would be, okay, like you said, so is the inability or the hesitantness, I know that's not a word, but y'all know what I'm saying, to allow a lead. Is it more so because we're masculine, or we can recognize when right now you're not being a good leader? And then 2, you know, and I don't know if any one of you have been in a situation where I think, Sister Kaba, you said, you know, when you're making more money, you know, than your man, is it the fact that you know, because of that, you start to feel more of a man? Or like, you know, what are ways that we counterbalance? Because I know too, a man can feel some sort of way if a woman is making more money than him. So is it, do we walk on eggshells, or, you know, like what?
No, we don't. No, we don't. Because for many years I was making way more than my husband in the banking industry. You know, at one point I was making like $68,000 a year in the banking industry, which trumped his 30,000. You understand? But that didn't change the fact that, you know, I felt masculine.
Right.
I felt like I was doing due just service for my family. You know what I'm saying? I didn't feel masculine because I was making more money, but and then I had you know, the husband and the family structure, and I don't think he felt inferior because he used to at that time he used to always, you know, say, "Oh, my wife is so smart," you know, and if it wasn't for you, it'd be hard. So we worked together on that. You know what I'm saying? So then the masculine and feminine energies intertwined, and we continued on. You know, and what it was we had to do. I didn't feel as if I was the leader. I just felt that together we could make things happen that we needed to have happen. So no, I don't think making more money than the man means a lot. I think society has made it seem that way. I think society has implemented that concept and construct to say that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that goes right back to what I was saying before, is that we're dealing with constructs. Simply.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are you paused, sis?
Yeah, her screen froze. Sister Waukesha, are you there?
Okay.
Yeah, her screen froze.
Okay. I did have one more question.
Before you ask the question, sis, I just wanted to piggyback off of Sister Kaba, in that she's right. Society does make women feel that if you make more money than your man, you are being the man, and that's crazy.
Yeah.
And when you're living in a household with, you know, with a brother, and you guys have children together, we're supposed to be working together for the betterment of our household. You know, maybe I make 70,000, 60,000, and he make 20 or 30,000. We're working together. That doesn't make me more of a man or him less than a man. We're supposed to be working together. And I just wanted to add this, Sister Riziki. I know that a lot of people come into this community, a lot of us who proclaim to be in this community, we still carry with us the ideas of religion, because religion and a lot of the different religious doctrines, it tells you, it defines for you the role of a man and the role of a woman. When I was reading some of the literature about Ife Amadoume's work, she has a book called, it's called Male Daughters, Female Husbands. And I know the title might take you back a little bit. But by Ife Amadoume's work, she was saying in the African, she said that they didn't have, she said it wasn't this tug of war between genders per se. Like, for example, she said that a woman could be considered the master of the home, you know, or a man could fall into domestic responsibilities. You get what I'm saying? But that woman wasn't perceived as a man, or that woman wasn't perceived as a woman, and that, you know, they just fulfill roles that was conducive, you know, that was conducive for the betterment of their households or the advancement of their households. You get what I'm saying? So they weren't fixated with this. It wasn't this gender war. And I vehemently feel that the Africans didn't have this problem because of how we viewed each other. Right. Like the man and woman viewed themselves as two entities of one human being. So to be together as man and woman was to be complete. So we viewed each other as complements. You get what I'm saying? But in the European paradigm, remember with the Europeans, their roles were very rigid. You know, it was, well, if you're a woman, you're supposed to do this. If you're a man, you're supposed to do this, because we have to understand that their paradigm wasn't predicated on balance. You get what I'm saying?
That's right. That's right.
The Africans predicated their gender structure or their family structure. It was all based on complementarity and balance. So it wasn't this tug of war that you see behind genders, because we realized that we were one, and that and that the goal of a man and a woman coming together is to procreate and to work towards the survival and prosperity and maintenance of the family, therefore the community, because remember, the community is an extension of the family. So that was African tradition and culture. But in the European paradigm, remember, man and woman were placed in these rigid roles because there was no equality there. It was no harmony there. It was no balance there. So a man had to play a particular role. A woman had to play a particular role because there was no equality.
That's a fact, Dr. Ma'at. And we can see that, sister, when we look at the great Sheikh Anta Diop's work in Civilization of Barbarism. I don't know what chapter. I think it's chapter 5, the clanic and tribal organization. We see he breaks down some differences there, in what the African clan would do and what the Indo-Aryan clan would do. So if anybody has that work, check it out. It's in chapter 5 of Civilization or Barbarism, page 112. You can see the difference in how Africans viewed the family structure and what they did, that whole dynamic, as opposed to what the Indo-Aryan or European crack or whatever you want to call it, how they viewed it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Definitely. So now it's kind of like, if you look at our society, we're living in a European paradigm where you have, where the roles are just rigid. You get what I'm. And as soon as you come out of that, you're not being a man. If you don't fall into these roles or you step outside of them, then you're not being a man or you're not being a woman. And then I heard you say, Sister Riziki, earlier that that men feel like women are being masculine when they don't allow the woman to be led. That sounded so like a Hebrew Israelite or a Muslim brother or something. Like, what the hell you mean being led? Like, I'm not cattle. You get what I'm saying? Like, we work together as a team and we make decisions together for our family. What do you mean led? I'm not leading you and you damn sure ain't leading me. We come together and we talk about something. You may bring something to my attention. We discuss, we make decisions together. We got to stop with this whole leading and led and all of this other stuff. Like earlier today, we talked about the Umar Johnson and SETI thing, and we were talking about leaders. We've had several leaders, Sister Riziki. We've had the Elijah Muhammads. We had the Khalid Muhammads. We had the Malcolm X. We had the Marcus Garveys, the Martin Luther Kings. We had the Nat Turners. We had the Harriet Tubmans. We had all these leaders. And look at the condition of Black people.
That's right.
So do you think that the solution is really following behind somebody at this point? Or do you think that the solution is getting right with yourself, getting your family right, and then therefore getting right in the community? Like, we got to stop with this leading and led stuff and understand the concept of togetherness.
Yeah, no, that was just a comment that was in the thread that I wanted to bring up for the sisters. But but on some parts I'll agree to disagree only because like there's always problems when there's a bunch of chiefs and not enough Indians. Like, let's just be real. If you're in an organization, if you're running a business, everybody can't lead. Like, let's just be real. There has to be some kind of structure or organization to say, hey, you know what? Because and I will say a part of it, yes, has to do with getting right with yourself, because you also have to be humble enough to know when to fall back. There's going to be certain situations where I'm not going to be able to take charge in that situation because my partner may be more knowledgeable or more experienced. So in that respect, I'm going to let him lead this situation because that would only make logical sense to allow somebody who's knowledgeable and experienced to for me to allow him to assist me, or I follow. Like, I don't have a problem saying that word because he's knowledgeable and I trust. So I do feel that, no, is leadership only for the man? Absolutely not, because there's going to be some instances where the woman is going to be more experienced and more knowledgeable, and sometimes the man just got to fall back and trust that you know what she's talking about. So so that's just like my spill. But as far as going on now to like the solutions, and again remembering last week how we brought up, you know, the different houses of the man and the reason why, you know, they may become effeminate is because, or emasculated, or the result of that is when certain houses aren't bought online. And so I mentioned briefly about the women last week, but this week I definitely want to get more, into it. And again, I use archetypes I felt people would know. So again, if you want to come up with your own, that's fine. But just for the sake of the presentation, I'm going to get into it. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, I guess I should just do the entire screen. Y'all let me know. Can y'all see my screen?
Let me go back into this. I wanted to shout out everybody in the chat room. Yes, I do see your screen, my sister.
Okay, great. So again, this is my little spiel on the Master Feminine. And again, the premise behind these presentations is, again, going back to what you said, right? Like every culture, every society or whatever, we need some kind of, I don't want to say structure or guideline, but I'll say some kind of archetype or system, if you will, to apply to the family dynamic so that it can function. Again, like I look at family, the relationship between men and women as ecology or even alchemy, as you will. We both have our own particular ingredients to contribute to this quote unquote potion or solution that's going to bring forth a particular result. So again, this is the dealing with the Master Feminine, dealing with the archetypes that woman should bring online to not only be a benefit to herself, but her family and her community. So the first one I want to get into is the moon. Now, the moon is the complement to the warrior that I talked about last week. Remember, the warrior was the protector, right? So again, when the warrior is out there, taking on whatever it is he's taking on, he's coming home, he's like, yo, I had a crazy day. The moon energy, right? You nurture the man, you kind of quote unquote cater to his needs. And some women feel some sort of way about that word cater, but the moon energy is all about nurturing. It is caring, it is generous. And when we also, now I was one of the main ones who had a problem with the word submissive, right? And there could be better words to use for that. But again, it goes back to, like I said, to where I don't allow my ego to overpower me, and I allow this man to go ahead and take charge in this situation because I know he's better equipped. And this also deals with the fact that it's not about you being right. It's about being effective. So that's that term submissive, if you will. Again, maternal, again, being that nurturing, caring, being this provider, being able to look at the whole family and know how to cultivate it and nurture it so that you have a strong family construct. So again, like you said earlier, not every woman who has a baby is a mother. Because they're missing that nurturing, they're missing that generosity, they're missing that ability to give without feeling the sense of loss, which is something that mothers do, in the natural occurrence of breastfeeding. When you breastfeed your child, you are literally giving nutrients out of your body, you're giving sustenance out of your body, and instead of feeling a loss, you feel more, euphoric and know that you're benefiting. So that's moon energy, being able to nurture and care and be generous without feeling like you're losing out. Okay, the next one is the elegant rose. Now, this is the result or the complement to the healer. As I said before, the healer, when it comes to the man, that role is more so knowing how to fill a woman's cup. And the reason why I particularly chose this photo is because this woman is not what you would, society would consider like the next top model with the perfect abs and the fake boobies and all the makeup and plastic surgery. The elegant rose is a woman, no matter her shape, her size, she feels beautiful. She is sensual. She is artistic. She is carefree. She is arousing. She loves giving and generating pleasure. She likes to be pleased. Some women don't know how to take a compliment. That's an unhealthy dynamic of elegant rose. Some women don't know how to say thank you when a man opens the door or, opens the car door or pull out her chair. That's a negative affective rose. There are some women who just like to be bitter. They like being mad. That is a negative elegant rose. The elegant rose, again, she likes sensuality. She don't want to be strong right now. She wants to be soft. the elegant rose knows sometimes, like, listen, it's okay for me not to be strong right now because my man is strong. I could be soft. That's why I'm here. That is elegant rose energy. And a lot of negative influences, low self-esteem, traumatic. This is one of the areas that damages this elegant rose. Women are insecure, possessive, jealous. They're non-creative. So that's one of the characteristics there. Now the treasure chest, I freaking love Issa Rae. And the reason why I chose her is because, you know, she is like, you know, she writes, produce her own, you know, everything. And even with the money she made, I think it was to Flint, Michigan. Like, she used her influence, you know, to give all this money to the people in Flint, Michigan. And it wasn't about publicity. And the treasure chest, like you were talking about earlier, Dr. Mayat, how you were talking about the men who were the hunters, right? Well, the treasure chest is the gatherer. So whereas the hunter, he may have to go out and fight and do a lot of physical stuff, whatever, to kill his prey and bring home the bacon. The treasure chest, she could just go outside and pick the plants or pick the food off the vine that's growing and bring it in the house. So she is about unifying. She is about prosperity. She's social, earthy. She is the matriarch and constructing community. So the treasure chest knows how to gather resources. You know, women who are industrious. This is also, you know, a prototype of a lot of business women out there who don't have to be so aggressive and, you know, like, quote unquote, man-like, if you will, in order to accomplish a business deal. She knows how to go in, talk that talk, you know, whatever it is, so that she can gather what it is she needs to gather for her business or for her family, because she understands when she benefits, so does the community. So again, the treasure chest is not all about I want to be, you know, unifying and prosperous for me. This is about the whole, the community. The seated hawk. Now, this is Winnie Mandela. You know, a lot of people, I give props to Winnie. You know, she's a G for real. So this is going back to, again, Dr. Mayat, when you were talking about a lot of your friends who are, you know, engineers, and they're working from, you know, like this analytical kind of energy, to whereas the seated hawk, she, you know, she's very intuitive. She can feel what needs to be done. She sees the vision. Remember, this is the complement to the eagle. When we talked about, you know, in a lot of societies, the woman was the one who set the vision. So when, you know, the family comes together, the woman's like, okay, I see that, I see we got this land. This could go here. This could go there. The children could do whatever. She has the vision, and the eagle is the one who says, okay, babe, I see your vision. Now here's the plan in order for us to get it done. So the seated hawk, again, is that saying where it goes, you know, a man with dreams needs a woman with vision. Why? Because that woman is going to know how to see the bigger picture and influence you and motivate you to get it done the right way. So again, when we are dealing with the houses of the woman, it's important to understand that these archetypes complement each other. Again, the moon with the nurturing, going with the warrior, the protector. The elegant rose is the result of the healer. This is what the elegant rose is like when her cup is full. Now she's ready to wake up and cook you breakfast, get the kids ready, and still be beautiful when you get home after all day of running around doing errands, whatever. Men like that. When they get home, and I've heard this plenty of times, they get tired of seeing a woman in do-rags and boxing shorts and stuff like that. Sometimes we want to come home, and then, you know what I'm talking about, because I know I done had a couple of, you know, almond milk spills and stuff on my t-shirt, and I'd be like, hey, babe, and he'd be like, nah, okay, I'm gonna need you to get together. Okay. Treasure chest, again, the gatherer. She is also resourceful. She is not the gold digger. She also brings something to the table. And again, the seated hawk, she has the vision. This is the partner you could do business with, because again, family is business, as Brother Polite would say. So again, how to accomplish these houses. So again, this is going back to the rites of passage programs where, you know, there were, you know, certain activities, certain tests of, you know, whatever the case may be, in order to build and nurture and cultivate that feminine energy. And some of this happened in our own schools when we were learning how to cook, when we were learning how to sew. If at times your grandmother or your mother was like, hey, now make sure you always feed your man first and then the kids, and you know, she's teaching you the order of the house. The other thing, more sisterhood. Again, this is why I love, you know, going to my little sweat lodges, and you know, I was getting a yoni steam the other day and having another sister. You know, that's right. I got that yoni steam, honey. Look. Don't knock it until you have some good steam in your yoni, honey. Okay. So
I hear you.
So again, sisterhood promotes more feminine. Again, we could come together. We could talk about our problems. We can also talk about the solutions, relieve the stresses, you know, that we're able to release outside of the home, because we can't always talk about every single thing to our husband. As a man, he's not always going to get where we're coming from, because as a woman, we have different perspective. Again, healing the energy bodies. This is going back to any trauma that a woman has faced, rather it be rape, molestation, you know, rejection, abandonment, insecurities. A lot of women have been taught to suppress these things, thinking that you could just put it in the back of your mind and try to forget it, as if it will not affect your relationships in the future, especially how you deal with men. What women don't realize, a lot of times how we treat men, how we talk to men, is because of the negative influences we've developed or we've experienced through our life course, rather it be from failed expectations from our father, or again, even in relationships. Healing your birth story, again, with the man. So, you know, do you feel some sort of way about the lack of nurturing that your mother gave you or did not give you? Do you feel some sort of way about how your father did not connect with you emotionally, or if he abused you? So again, healing your birth story helps you bring online these other archetypes. Again, admitting you need help. And last but not least, men activating their own houses, because again, there's only so much work that us sisters can do to bring certain things online. There's just certain things that a man is very, very necessary for, as far as helping us bringing these online, such as, you know, the elegant rose, because now we're being healed. And also the moon energy, because now we feel protected. Now we have somebody to nurture. And then, and I would even also say the treasure chest, the gatherer, you know, because even though a lot of women can be successful and prosperous on their own, there are those same women also will admit that, hey, I don't want to do this by myself, you know. So those dynamics are very important for both man and woman to bring online. And again, when you start to develop all of these archetypes, and it's going back to, again, what we were talking about, the cultural traditions. This is why certain ceremonies in certain mystery schools, like there were certain, you know, acts or, again, ritual, at times even possession that we went through in order to inherit these certain qualities that your culture or said society felt you should have because you are a man or a woman. So again, there's a lot of steps to each of those houses, or I would say a lot of things you could do, like affirmations, meditation, ceremonies, whatever. But just so you guys can get a general idea of those 4 archetypes, you know, that should be brought online to kind of encompass the fullness of everything a woman has to offer.
That was perfect, Raziki. I mean, I took so much from that. I really did. I want to thank you for, you know, showing the audience that and breaking it down in detail. And
let me say this real quick, sis.
Let me say something right quick. Okay. Just right quick. You know what? I like you were talking about steaming your yanni. I'm about to crack a quick joke. Get ready. You know what? You know who I want to steam my yanni, quote unquote yanni? The goddamn African man. He can steam it. You see?
I know that's right.
I just had to crack that joke right quick. It's all good. I appreciate you. He can come. That's who I want to open the house up. Yeah, the Black African man.
And yeah, I just wanted to say this too, and we talked about this earlier, Dr. Mayat, but if I see the word pseudo one more damn time, see this, you know, I love my brothers and sisters, but I got to keep it real when I see stuff called foul. Like, you know, and this is just my opinion, but again, one of the reasons why I feel like we just like we suffering is because we don't know how to take information and just get the message. Like, you know, this, when anybody says anything, and I feel like the need to say this because like we could get past a lot of the unnecessary argument and then just get to the solution. So when we talk about bringing on certain archetypes or whatever, this is stuff that we've done through history. There was a reason why, again, our ancestors did certain ceremonies or they called on certain gods, aka energies of the universe, so that we can invoke them and portray those qualities. So when you talk about, you know, being able to package information in a way that people are able to understand, like just take that for what that is and don't be so quick to shut it out. Another comment I see, and I'm not trying to be funny, but this is one.
This in the chat. I can't see the chat, y'all. I'm just letting everybody know. Whoever, it's not to cut you off, Riziki, but whoever in the chat, I want to say peace and black power, but I can't see the chat. Y'all know what's up. Why I can't see the chat right now. But peace and love to everybody in the chat, because you must be talking about what they're saying in the chat, huh, Riziki?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And peace, love, and power. But again, that's why I just like to address. So there was another sister who was like, you know, we shouldn't have to dress up for a real man. And I'm just like, okay, how many married men or single men have you worked with? Because what man is not going to appreciate, like he may not care. I get it. Like he may not require it, but why not just do it because it's something he would like? It's like sometimes women, I feel like too, this is another masculinization part. Sometimes women will purposely stray away from femininity just to prove a point. And I'm like, why? Like, how does that hurt? And that's all I got to say. Okay.
I just want to say, and we're getting ready to wrap up. First and foremost, Sister Riziki, I concur 100% with Sister Kaba in that was a wonderful presentation. I don't know if the brothers and sisters, I know the brothers and sisters who are going to view this or the ones in the chat room definitely appreciated that, because it shows you the different types of women that are out there. Like all of us aren't the same. You know what I mean? Like all of us aren't, you know, you had the go-getter, you had the treasure chest, and then I think you had the hawk. What was the one? Give me all four of them, Riziki. The treasure chest. You got to unmute your mic, sis. The treasure chest, the hawk.
It was the moon, the treasure chest, the elegant rose, and the seated hawk.
And the seated hawk.
Yeah.
So that basically, you know, showed the audience, or what it taught me. I mean, not that we didn't know, but there are different types of women in the world. And I just charged the viewers and whoever, you know, who's ever tuned in right now, that when you classify or categorize someone as being masculine or feminine, basing that on, what is your standard? What is your standard? Because I believe that your standard is the standard of the Europeans. You get what I'm saying? And I think, again, and I just want to reiterate this, that Black people, African people, we need to start defining ourselves in terms of our indigenous cultures. Okay? We got to cut it out. That's feminine. That's masculine. What are you basing that on? What are you basing that on? You know, a man should be this or a woman should be that. What is your barometer? You don't have one. You know, you really don't have one. And the one, well, you do have one. The one that you have is one that was imposed upon you by the Europeans. But we have to set a new barometer for what is a man and what is a woman, and the roles that we should play and the characteristics that we may have based on, you know, being a man or being a woman. So I think this was a great show, ladies. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I think that everyone contributed greatly to the conversation. I don't have any last words. I just want to, you know, Sister Cobb, I'm at a point where I just want African people to stand up and define ourselves in our own terms, and to just free ourselves or extricate ourselves from these labels that are being imposed upon us. You get what I'm saying? Even with the standard of beauty. Right. I was reading a book by Kwame Nkrumah, and he was saying how the concept of beauty is fundamental to every culture. So in other words, he was saying that beauty is culturally and socially defined. You know, when I talk to brothers and sisters, like I'm at a point, Sister Kaba, and I don't want to act like I'm just so more awakened than other people, But I used to look at people and judge whether this was attractive or non-attractive. You know, now when I look at brothers and sisters, I simply just want to know what tribe you descended from. I want to know what's in you.
Yeah.
You know, I look at your features. I might look at your mouth or your nose or your complexion or the shape of your head, or I might look at the texture of your hair and just simply wonder, where are you from? You know, I wonder, what is your story?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? I'm no longer looking at brothers and sisters categorizing, oh, this is attractive to me and this is not, because we have to understand that beauty is taught. Remember that.
Yeah.
What people perceive as beautiful is taught. Like I was telling my sons, when they're looking when they're looking at the television and they see these images of women with weave down their hair, or they're looking at these commercials. My son and I were laughing at a commercial the other day. It's a contour commercial, and it's a thing that you can get, women can get, and they can put it on their bodies, and it can make you appear to have broad hips, a flat stomach, and a behind. I don't know if any of you sisters ever saw this. It's this like contour.
It looked like it hurt.
Yeah, like you could put it on. But you know, I was telling my son what's damaging about projecting that sort of commercial is that now that's the standard for a woman. So the girls are looking and saying, well, golly, something must be wrong with my body if I don't have a flat stomach, broad hips, and a curvy buttocks. And then the men, the little boys, are looking at that commercial saying, well, women should be shaped like that. You get what I'm saying? So you're taught what's beautiful. When you look at music videos and you're looking at TV shows, we're taught what's beautiful. And I'm at a point, Sister Raziki and Sister Kaba, where I just want African people to define their own beauty. Define what a man means in African terms, what a woman means in African terms. What is beauty? What was beauty to our African people?
That's right.
Again, you know, I'm beyond the whole, oh, he's attractive, that's attractive. I'm looking to say, damn, I wonder, is he from, you know, where's his people from? Are they Cameroon? Are they from Cameroon, Ghana, Mali, you know, Songhai? Are they from Senegal, Nigeria? Like, I'm looking, just trying to figure out, where's he from? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I no longer categorize, and this person is cute, this person, like, come on. We got to really start defining ourselves in terms of our African principles, cultures, and traditions. So that's where I'm at with it. And even with being masculine, being feminine, what's a man, what's being a woman, what is your standard? And I believe that standard should be set based on the current needs of our culture. And then that we take, and then that we develop. So we find out what our cultural needs are, right? And then develop a standard, and then train our boys and girls up based on that standard. That's what the ancestors did, and it worked for their societies. I mean, their cultures thrived. And so I think that we definitely need to reconstruct and reinstitute and also refine what our ancestors did. So I have nothing else to say, my sisters.
One thing. When we look in regard to African traditional culture, if we want to look at a standard of beauty for ourselves, we can look in inscription. We see ourselves. We see how we glorified ourselves. You know, we glorified our color. I mean, we can look at our weight in there. We looked at what our diet was. So, I mean, we have to, you're right, Dr. Ma, we have to get back to redefining what beauty is based off African traditional culture for us and our children, because that's not what they're teaching our children in school. They're not teaching them to glorify themselves. I mean, they're going to glorify themselves, you know, in the school system, not us. And so that's why our children have this precept that they, you know, they're beautiful based off the standards that they see on television. That's why I moderate what my daughter watch. You know what I'm saying? This society, because everything that she sees already, there's going to be a question. You know, we go to the store, we're walking out, she's going to see differences in people. So we have to start training our children up in what it is we want them to, how we want them to perceive themselves and how they should perceive themselves coming up in their life. So yeah, peace and love. To tell everybody in the chat for me, Dr. Ma'at, any of our friends, if they in there, tell everybody I said, well, they can hear me. Black power to all y'all. I love all y'all. We appreciate y'all.
I see him. We have brother Sean P. You know, he always is a supporter.
Oh my goodness, that one right there, Sean P.
Sean P. is in the chat room.
I gotta give it to him. He's very supportive, sis. He's very supportive.
Yes, he is. We have a sister, Ayana Naku, a brother by the name of DMV, Mr. Stretch. A sister by the name of The Sis. We have, I think, Abazu Amen. He came through earlier. We also have Mech J01. Lessa Darcy came through. Mac Tip is always definitely a support.
Oh, that's my brother, Mac Tip. Peace and love, that brother. Yeah.
Mac Tip. Anisha Green. We had Olivia. Let me see the sister Olivia. She came through.
I sent a message to my brother Aku Kramanti. I don't know if he came in, but I sure sent him one. And Chief X, I sent all of them a invite.
Yep, and then we had King 334 Mob. Let me see. And then there was another brother, Doug. I believe I saw him in the chat room earlier. But King Forever, Lessa Darcy. Who else? I just want to make sure that we acknowledge. Yeah, her name is Olivia Happiness. That's what I was.
All right, peace and love to everybody.
So peace and love to all of the brothers and sisters who join us every week. I definitely appreciate them coming through and spending this hour and hearing what our thoughts are, and then stopping in the chat room to give their input on the topic. Next week, next week I want the topic, and I want you sisters to tell me if you're with it. I want the topic to be, do Black people truly want to be liberated? Do we really want to be liberated? Because I'm looking at these actions, I'm just looking at how we're behaving and what we're doing right now, and the things that we gravitate to and the things that we, gravitate, away from. And I'm really questioning, do we, it's our psychology, it's our mind. Our minds, are they so damaged that it's beyond repair? I think that would be a powerful topic, Sister Riziki and Sister Kaba. What do you think about that? Like, go ahead, Sister Kaba.
No, I was about to say, it's almost like a piggyback off of, I think that first show, Are Black People Ready for Black Power? So we can revisit that. We can revisit that in a way, huh?
Okay, so it's just tugging at my heart. Maybe we can, because I'm just...
We say we
want to change, but we don't understand, I'm looking at videos of black exploitation videos, and Black folks going into the store being disrespected, and then the next day you go back into the store,
right, to spend your money. That's right. We call it Ngo, which is Black economics and African traditional culture. We got to get to that. And stop giving these pale Arabs, our money, these euros. I mean, think about it. In our communities, we have one of these pale Arab stores on every corner. Yeah. And we go in there, and a lot of times what I can see here, just quickly, I'm not going to take too much time. We have here in the city, well, I don't live in the city of New Orleans. I was born and raised there. But what we have there is a tradition, second line tradition, where we have the brass bands comes out, and each year everybody has an annual parade, and you dress up and you dance. And so at these events, that, along the way, you're in a lot of hot people dancing around, they're having a good time. So they stop in all of the stores and things in the neighborhoods, or these pale Arabs, right? So what do? A lot of people trying to come in at one time. I mean, they're opening the doors, let a few people in, and then they're very disrespectful. They close the doors on everybody. So everybody's standing there waiting to go in there to spend their money with these pale Arabs. Not me. Guess what?
That's right.
I grab my water, and I ain't going in their stores. I'm not spending a dime with them because they hate us. And they over there right now killing our people in the Sudan, all throughout Africa. Look, shout out to the Parnetcha Research Linguistics Unit, who's trying to make big changes in how they're trying to steal our culture, history, linguistically, historically. They're trying to take us and eradicate us from the face of the histories of that place. So we need to, you're exactly right, sis. We got to spend our money within our own communities, with our own people, our own stores. We can't give the pale Arabs, Europeans, all of our money. We already have to get gas. We're buying their cars. We're renting their homes. We're buying their homes. They're already getting the majority of our money. You know what I'm saying? I mean, these credentials and all these different places, they got our mortgages through them. They're getting our money already. So when do we take a stand? When do we say it's Ngo, and we take care of ourselves? That's right. And our own community. So I agree with you there, sister. I agree.
Yeah, we gotta stop. We gotta cut it out. Like, we look at how Delta Airline is treating Black people. You got Black people who still want to fly Delta. You get what I'm saying? You go into, it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. And I remember a long time ago, reading a book where it said that, Elijah Muhammad said that we are mentally, he said physically, and we are a mentally, spiritually, and physically dead people. Mr. Farrakhan said we are a very sick group of people. And Dr. Amos Wilson said we have been mentally disenabled and mentally crippled. He said, therefore, we are out of our minds. We are truly out of our minds, Sister Kaba. In order to continue to exchange money with people who don't respect you and pass by your brother or sister, you have to be out of your mind. That's the only way this system of domination can operate, if you are out of your mind. Because if you were in your right mind, you will be working to destroy this system and to build a system of your own. Because we got to remember, Sister Kaba, only systems can combat systems.
That's right. That's right.
Has been so inculcated with this spirit of individualism that even in our fight for liberation, we have been applying an individualistic approach to dismantling the system.
Yes.
A global system of domination. So we have to understand that only, we have to come together collectively.
Yep.
Right. We have to come together collectively to form, to coordinate, and combine all of the different structures that our brothers and sisters have created and put them under one banner of nationhood. And then that's when we can dismantle and destroy this system of domination.
And that leads me to this one thing I want to say, coming from the great elder, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. In her book, The ISIS Papers, she says here within the dedications, Neely Fuller, he is quoted as saying, if you do not understand white supremacy, racism, what it is and how it works, everything else that you understand will only confuse you. So, and I just want to leave us with that on my note, on my call, peace and black power to the family.
I'm done on that note. Peace and black power, family. We're going to end on that note, Sister Kaba. That was powerful.
Yes.
Join us next Wednesday, brothers and sisters, from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. This week we got started a little late because we had some technical difficulties, but the sisters will be in the building next Wednesday. We normally do from 1 to 2. I always say 1 to 2, but we always go till about 3 o'clock. But we will be here. Join the sisterhood every Wednesday. We love you. We wish you nothing but peace and power and prosperity. Black African power.
Black African power.